sense of balance and manageability of it. Why am I consistently trying to go against the grain when that doesn't give me more manageability? Ease, that I can transfer information from one place to the other, is amazing. Good afternoon. Hello. Whew. Why does it feel like a Thursday? It's only Tuesday. Oh, that's right. Daylight savings time. It's such a joy, isn't it? There is just something about being able to spread out on this bed and work. It just works so well for me. So I might have to return to it. Just forego having an office altogether since I never sit in it. I never do. Anybody else have that scenario? Do you have a room in your house that you were like, oh, I really want this room and I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna set it up, and then you never use it? Am I the only one? I'm the only one. I'm the only one. You probably can't see, I'll turn. I have a ginormous mess over here. Because what I've been doing lately is structuring my time so I work for a period of time where it's like I'm really focused on something and just that. And then I give myself about 10, 15, 20-minute break doing something else that takes a different type of brain power or physicality for me. And it's been working like really well. I feel like at the end of the day, though I may not have accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish, I still feel like I am accomplishing. And that made a huge difference. It's hard working from home. It's hard being at home and trying to accomplish things because there's so many distractions that are around us. And it's difficult to stay focused, I think, for sure, in the walls of your home space. And over the years, I've really been evaluating systems. I've taken things that I've been using for over 2 decades in times of working outside of the home, working in the home, and going through a massive amount of traumatic situations in my life. There's a great disconnect between something that's fun and enjoyable and something that helps you improve and get better. They can be one and the same, but there still has to be some sense of balance and manageability of it, because when it becomes out of control or when it becomes something that we are doing more than we're actually applying, then it's a distraction and it's not helping us be better. So one of the things that I found was I had moved away from a really great system of everything was either letter size or half letter size. And those were the sizes I worked from. Why? Why did I work from that? Okay, well, when I worked outside the home and everything came in letter size, right? So it makes sense to have letter size notebooks and legal pads and such because concise, everything you want to be able to fit, it needs to be organized. I'm a mom of 6 kids. What comes home from school? Letter size papers, half letter size papers. I am a chronically ill person. I have a lot of doctor's appointments. What size do their documents come? In letter size document. Why am I consistently trying to go against the grain when that doesn't give me more manageability? So going back to that and incorporating a little bit at a time, and what I realized was that was one of the keys for me. So, for example, my home planner, I've always had a home management binder since I was 19 years old, you guys. I still have my original one. 3-ring binder, letter size paper. It was easy to find supplies for. It was easy to do things that I wanted to do, reorganize, take something from this binder and put it in that binder. I didn't have to shrink it down, resize it, reprint it, rewrite it. None of that. So that's what I went back to. All right, so So this has been my home planner, home management, for a couple of years now. I deconstructed basically, and used large happy planner rings because I had one that I had got on clearance, so I didn't pay full price for it because I just wanted the rings. And if you wanted like the dividers, that would be cool too. So use the dividers and recover them. I made my own, but that's not a necessity. Like all you have to do, yes, all that paper, is it a waste? Sure, find something to do with it. Guess what I do? I give it to my children. My kids love the guts of a planner that I'm not going to use. They can color, they can draw, they can plan, they can write, they can play school. It's being used. So home management binder, and then it's set up in the way that I need it to be, which was I needed my family to have a clear picture of the month, of what was going on and who was going where. They don't need the nitty gritty of what I include in me transcribing my life. Okay, and so having it separate works for me. Some people, you don't need to have that separate. There's school things I can put in here, and I have each section, there's a section for each child. So there are passwords that they need for different years, or like my son is in 8th grade, they get to go on a DC trip this year. So we've had a lot of paperwork and communication, and I don't have to go looking through 5 bazillion piles of paper or a drawer or a filing cabinet because I've already punched it, it's in a section, and I'm good to go because it comes in the house, I do something with it. It's either put where it needs to go or it's thrown away because we don't need it. But it took me a while to get to that place. And what I'm trying to say is this was one of those keys. It helped me so much, of really just returning to that mindset of why did the binder system work so well for me for so many years. Which I could still do. You could still just do it all in a 3-ring binder. That would be okay too. I made all of mine disc bound so that it was consistent. So I had one punch, which, hang on, I can't lift it with that arm. Okay. So this is the punch that I have at home that I use. It is heavy duty. It is nice and strong. It is made by ARC. You can get it off of Amazon. If you go to the website under the newsletter tab, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see buttons of products I love. That will take you straight to Amazon, and it'll show you a lot of things that I talk about. And if by chance it's not on there, you can remind me and I'll put it on there for you guys. Products I love. There's a playlist of music to pull you through if you have iTunes. But I love this. It's heavy duty. It can punch through quite a few normal pieces of paper at a time. It can handle cardstock. It can handle cardboard, and it can even handle lamination, which I was really excited about. There are times where it still will get stuck a little bit, or it doesn't punch it all the way through and I just need to take scissors to a little trim it, but that is way better than trying to like manually. It rocks. It folds down and locks, so you don't have to worry about it sticking up all the time. The drawer comes out, you empty the drawer. I love the different notches that it has. It has an A5 size. So that is why I do trim my half-page letters down to 8.25, because I just take a 1/4 inch off, usually of the bottom, because it really doesn't matter. And then it fits perfectly for A5. I've disc punched it, and I can plop it on. So yeah. I do have all of my actual like writing and planning my work and what I'm doing, when I'm doing, in its own thing. I kept this separate from what I consider my personal planning, if that's what you want to refer to. This is my life. This is me transcribing my life and my family's life. This is me and my motherhood and homemaking vocations. Like that's all in this and everything like that. And so if you had a side hustle, if you were selling 31 or you did doTERRA, it would be a good separation. That would be a good separation. Maybe you have a volunteer position in your community and it has a lot of things that you need to kind of plan and think through, that would be a great separation so that it's not in with your personal life transcribing. And so that's how I separated it. But again, I put it on disk and I made it the same size as what I'm doing for everything, my other personal stuff, so that I can interchange. Because if I write something over here and it's like, oh, I really need that over here, I don't have to rewrite it anymore. I don't have to copy and paste it, or I don't have to reprint anything. I can just move it over. The ease that I can transfer information from one place to the other is amazing. That has been amazing. And so it doesn't matter like what your preference is. Like say you love traveler's notebooks. I'm just going to throw this out here. So then fabulous. Then use that system through everything and even consider moving where you have one or two sizes and that's it. So things can interchange and lock in so that it actually becomes tools and resources, not a distraction. That's my personal opinion. I don't say anything to offend anybody, but I'm just sharing what works for me and what has been instrumental for me. So let's see here. So I had people ask about that. Where did I get all the discs? And I had people ask that question. So I had, where's this file? Okay. Ouch. I had some mini happy planners. Oh. Okay, so I had some mini happy planners that I had done my scripture writing in for a couple years. And so I deconstructed those to see how I was going to like it. Those are also a smaller size, so I could have like, I started off with just putting a little bit on a disc to see, I'm like, is this going to work? And, you know, really testing it out. So I have all of these pages that I did my scripture writing for like 2 years. So I haven't taken these and made something out of them, but I'm going to, which to me, could you keep them on rings and store them? Sure. I just needed the rings to utilize, so I took them off. So I may just buy more rings. I've gotten rings off of Amazon. I have gone to our local Staples and bought Levenger, which are amazing discs. Martha Stewart, if you can find her products anymore, her discs are amazing and heavy duty. They are solid all the way through. So to me they feel a lot more stable as opposed to discs that have they're not. Does that make sense? So, and they tend to hold a lot more. So I use these for things that are heavier, that are going to be flipped a lot. This one is like what I call my development planner. So if I have something in the works or resources that I'm using for something, or maybe it's a class or a course that I'm going to take upcoming, I can print it all out and it would be in here. So it's just a whole bunch of resources. So it needs to be a little bit heavier duty as opposed to, this is my daily one and I'm moving it around, and I don't mind that it's a little bit more loose and it moves around because it's kind of what I need during the day. If it was stiff, I think it would be a little bit harder. I'll tell you another thing I'm really loving is being able to have a notebook style, because I was using Stayology notebooks for almost a year, and I love incorporating still that type of life transcribing and planning and memory keeping with this. But as opposed to, I couldn't flip the book over and just write, I can now. Sorry. Trying to do this with my legs crossed and everything. Now I can just, sit here and I can write like I would in a notebook, which I did for so many years, like decades. Like how many of you guys wrote in just regular notebooks? Were you born in the 70s or 80s? That's what we did. We just had those god-awful coils that hurt, especially if you got it caught on you, or ruined your, gorgeous sweater that you were like dying to have because you wanted to be like everybody else, and it snagged it. Oh, that was just me? Okay. So I'm really loving a lot of that, where I can combine the notebook type of style with still an organizational style where I can move things around. It was hard. I'm going to tell you, it's been hard because here's the thing. I have all these pieces of my life kind of scattered around and all of these different things, and I can't like piece it all together easily. It's not cohesive. It doesn't all work together. And it's like, I'm doing these things and I'm writing these things to leave a legacy. And though a little bit of writing is great, like I still have journals that I'm going to journal in, or scrapbooks that I'm going to do here and there. But I wanted something that kind of came together more like a book and would operate that way from day to day too. Is a book in progress isn't they don't put the spine on, and like that's the last thing they do. It's the last thing they do when they put that spine on, because at that time it's permanent. And so I was like, this is a work in progress, and I need to move things, and the things that I wrote 6 months from now I need to have in my face a year from now, being able to see it. And if it's stuck someplace over there and I don't know if it would. And so this started to just make so much more sense to me. This is how I'm storing the past. See, when I first started in writing Nostalgy, which again, I loved the notebook style of just really crafting and being intentional with not just memory keeping, but in the moment what was going on, recording down what I'm actually doing and getting done. And there's a lot that comes from that. It's so beneficial to be able to look back and say, look how much I'm actually doing. Because we all suffer with that thought of, I'm not doing enough, I'm not getting enough done. You go, I should have done this, I could have done that, and all of those things. But when we can sit back and look and go, holy freaking cow, who gets this much stuff done a day? I did. This is awesome. Or look at this week, look how much fun we had. So what if, laundry didn't get checked off? Look at all the fun that we created and the memories that we made. And that's important in what we're doing. And when we take an intentional effort to really plan and document our lives, that you have just become your own personal life transcriber. So no matter what you're doing, no matter what system you're using, no matter what inserts or style or this or that, just please keep that to heart. You're recording down your life and your memories, and hopefully so that people can see who you were, but more importantly, so you can remember who you are and who you were and where you've come from and how you got there. Because all of that stuff, all of it is important and it all matters. And I'm saying this coming from, there's times where I couldn't and I didn't, because the danger of recording down anything was greater. So, anyways, that's probably it. I'm gonna get way too emotional. I was been writing this morning, and we had a great call with my co-author, and so Sunday I was talking about how I had switched almost all of my systems to either letter size or half letter, and I'm using disc so that I can kind of have some fluidity with everything that's going on. So much so that I completely cut the spine off of my Stayology. And have been able to move pages back and forth. So anyways, I'll talk more about the system and how it's working for me and tools I'm utilizing. But the cool thing is, like, this is like 2 Stayologies worth all together, like in order, and it's awesome. And I can flip through it and be like, okay, last October, and still see it and utilize it. But what was awesome was I was able to take the pages that I still needed and I needed to have in front of me or needed to remember, and instead of having to duplicate it, I just got to put it in the active one. So this is active and this is more like retired for the time period that I'm using, and I've been testing this. Eventually I'll probably separate it out to the actual year. This I did end in December, so this went from April to December, but I'm getting ready to put like January's weeks in here because I have rings for it to hold. It's not necessarily the permanent, but it's nice because it can just hold it, and then I can move it around later when I have time or I want to spend time working on a project. That's the other thing. That is the other thing that's really been awesome. And if you guys have any questions, you guys pop in some questions. But something that just I realized was I don't spend so much time doing things that aren't actually helping me accomplish what I want to accomplish in my life. And because it's a little bit more organized, there's a little bit more free range, I don't feel as constricted. But then when I do want to have crafting and fun, just relaxing time, it's very easy to incorporate. And it's not so complicated. So I'm not saying, like, right now is pretty simple because it's just been really functional. But I have decorative dividers, and I had fun with my tabs, and I'm still doing things like this, which is fun. So I'm doing kind of both, like, at the same time. So important that I don't think it matters like so much rings, strings, disc, this, that, whatever, is that you have fluidity within your systems. This outside cover is from Webster's Pages, and it is this just came, when did it come out? In their last release. So they did a couple new things and more of like covers or journals or TNs. I do love this cover, let me tell you. Because it's so hard and firm. So I feel like putting disc inside of it works. So I have this flexibility, but it's not all over the place. And this is the one that I used for work. And this has actually, I feel like I've actually gotten more stuff done utilizing this system than I ever have before, which is kind of weird, but because I thought I was getting a lot done before. And other than that, you guys are the best. Just remember that no matter what you're doing, I just hope that you're aspiring for better, you're striving for better, and you're achieving better. And don't worry about the rest, you guys. I love you. Have a great day.